Priscilla movie review. Let's get right to it. Action! What's going on, Alamo City Movie Talk fans? As always, I'm your host, Ryan D. Ryan680.
I'm Antoine Cailee.
And this is Alamo City Movie Talk for movie fans. Guys, if you have not already, be sure to like and subscribe to us on our Alamo City Movie Talk page, YouTube channel, and everything. And whether you're listening to us on the podcast platform, YouTube channel, be sure to subscribe, follow, like, share, subscribe, guys, and comment down below. With that out of the way, Angela, what movie are we talking about today? I mean, the most A24. A24. We always enjoyed their movies for the most part. We always go in with a high expectation here, and yeah, Angela, we're gonna go right out, and I'm gonna go right out and say, we're reviewing the film Priscilla, and Angela, I want to get your first take on this because it's a very different kind of movie, obviously, different kind of film that we got with the Austin Butler Academy Award. Academy nominated.
Academy Award nominee.
Academy Award nominated Mr. Austin Butler here, and which I think he was robbed by Brandon Fraser. I said it. I don't care what it says, but that
is the hill I will die on. Is that you are absolutely wrong? Okay. Brandon Fraser deserved that.
I didn't say he deserved it, but I'm just saying Austin. Yeah, I was a huge fan of that movie. The Elvis film. Tom Hanks, as Colonel. Elvis Presley, Austin Butler and everything. And here's the thing. A movie like this, it's very different. It's a different side, right? It's a different side to the I wouldn't even say it's a different side from the Elvis story, because the Elvis story was more about the Elvis and Colonel was being the villain and all that. And the Warner Brothers movie,
So the Elvis film was obviously about Elvis his career, his life.
Yeah. Exactly.
In and out of fame and music and movies. And like you say, it is kind of leaning towards he was taken advantage of, especially in a state where he was, doing drugs. Yeah. So I get what you're saying with that one. So this one
is more focused on his marriage.
So this one's the relationship told from the point of view of Priscilla Presley.
Yeah. What did you think of this film, Angela? What did you?
So I'm not gonna lie, I did not know that when I only found out like this week. I did not know when they first met, she was 14 and he was 24.
Insane.
And I gotta say, that does definitely change my perspective of the relationship, because when we've seen it in media and movies and all this stuff, it's really was portrayed as like this picture perfect, almost like,
I mean, the famous shot is in here as well.
Like it's very like they were perfect together. They loved each other so much. But again, because of that age difference and when they started dating and when they got married, it kind of irks me a little bit now looking back on it. So I gotta say though, it was a different time. I think they met in like 1959 and they were like dating throughout the early 60s. So it was definitely a different time. Does that make it okay? No, but you gotta look at it through that perspective, that lens. That was what, like 50 years ago, 60 years ago. So actually longer. It was like 6 years ago. So I gotta say, it definitely shows how different things were back then. We definitely see it's really the progression of like when they started dating to when they eventually got divorced, when she left him. So we don't get anything before or after. I kind of wish I saw after a little bit. I really do. I know we had talked about it off screen. It is like an hour and 50 minutes, not quite 2 hours. There is problems with pacing, in my opinion. As much as like we see their relationship progress on screen, I don't like the pacing of it. It was very slow at certain points, and I didn't really like or agree with the way it ended. I wish I had seen a little bit more, but again, pacing issues, I'm not sure how that would have worked out.
I'm a huge fan of biopics. When it comes to biopics, Walk the Line, I mean, you name it. They're just nonstop. Bohemian Rhapsody is another fantastic movie. You haven't, obviously everyone has seen that movie by now. But, especially Elvis, I'm a huge fan of biopics. I really am. They're such an insight into their life. It also makes you want to research a lot. And Angela, you did mention this to me, and I was just like shocked 14 years old. That is shocking.
Okay.
But now that we've seen the movie and we know the insight behind it, and knowing that the parents, I mean, I'm not saying it's right, but the parents gave permission. I'm not saying that's right either.
You could say.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's
a different time.
Yeah. I mean, you got to remember though, kids around that age, even in the 40s and in the 1940s and all that, they were getting married at 16, 17, you know, it was.
I get what you're saying.
I mean, I know it's 14 from 16 still 2 years apart.
But she's only been a teenager 2 years.
I know.
She's only in 9th grade. Again, it's one of those things where I can't.
It's a conversation starter.
Unlearn that info. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't unlearn that she was 14 and he was 24 at that time. Yeah. So again, that just kind of still irks me. Mm-hmm. Do I still love Elvis? Do I still love his music? Sure. But I can't unlearn that, and it makes you definitely view their relationship differently.
Oh yeah.
Given that they were not only met, but they were dating when she was such a young child.
Yeah.
And he was a grown man. So I gotta say, we see it from her perspective, even after they get married. And I know one of the things that you wanted me to do, and I kind of did a little bit after we were coming home, was I kind of looked into. I was reading more about their relationship beyond what was shown in the film. And there are other, I think we had mentioned it too. We're missing a lot of context. I think that was the pacing issue. We missed a lot of context. And I got to agree, because there were certain things I was reading online that were missing from the film. Definitely.
There's a lot of, okay, so here's the thing when it comes to biopics and everything that we usually do at the Alamo City Movie Talk studio. And the reason being is that we love biopics. We love them. Them. But also, we like to correct and to say, okay, why wasn't this in the movie? We're missing part of the film. And after watching this hour and 50-minute film, it felt way longer than that. Yeah. More so, it felt like it was one-sided one way. But again, that's the point of the movie, right? Because this is Priscilla's story. But at the same time, it's a very point-driven that, like, oh yeah, it didn't even mention them. It slightly mentioned the major points in Elvis's career that we kind of see, you know, the outfits. It's a very tiny bit, and I'm just like, why would you not do that? Because of the fact that pinpoint of both of their lives.
Well, because I mean, like, we all know, Elvis went on the road. He toured. He did movies. He was on television. He did all that away from home. And we get that happened. But we're seeing
in the Elvis movie, she's actually with him when he goes into Hollywood. He stays in Hollywood.
But that's the thing. It's perception.
Yeah.
So we see that. I'm sure fans and people who were on the road with him saw her being there. But she, from this point of view, she was only there, like, she wanted to go out there more often. He didn't want her there. Yeah. Her trips out there were short. If she went at all. We see her, what she's doing at home when he's not there. So we see what he's left her to do, basically. Like, either, you know, entertain herself, find time to do things for herself, shop. Now that she had her daughter, you know, she's taking care of her daughter with a nanny. So I think that's the point of the film. As much as you want to shine light on his career, because they do touch on it every once in a while, that's not the point. The point is her and what she's doing and what her point of view is while he's having this explosive career and comeback, if you will. What she's doing and how she's involved in that, you know?
Yeah, you know, the director, Sofia, you know, she's actually written the Virgin Suicides, which is with Kristen Dunst in there, and from Spider-Man. Everyone knows her from Spider-Man. But, you know, the very first film I saw of her was, I think it was a kid movie. I forgot what movie it was. But anyways, long story short, you know, Sofia, she comes from a very, very long cinema career. She was in The Godfather 3. She's been a part of cinema, and she was an actress at that time. Now written and directed this movie, by the way. So I just, you know, I feel like it's story driven by the book, right? I mean, obviously we haven't read the book. I haven't read the book. I don't know if you have, but I have not read the book. So I kind of feel like that we're just missing a little bit. Maybe it's even more detailed in the book, more so than it is in the movie. And it tends to do that. I just like so, books, you know, books always, even the Harry Potter books. I mean, they're not spot on by the movies by a landslide.
I mean, like, there's certain things that don't translate from book to film. Yeah. That's why it's a little bit different. Yeah. I do wish I had, like you said, more context to certain things. I do think certain things were left out that I don't necessarily agree with. I know a lot of the movie showed, like, his affairs with like co-stars while he was doing films.
Yeah.
And
which that was in already pointed out in the Elvis movie itself.
Yeah, like
it really was.
It's common knowledge that he was doing that while he was married. But what I didn't know, again, I just quick search online, was that she herself also had affairs. So I wanted to see maybe a little bit more depth to that in the film, because like you see their separation, how they slowly, like you say, live separate lives and are kind of doing their own thing. Yeah. So I wish I kind of saw more. I felt like that end part of her life right before she leaves him was kind of rushed. Yeah.
No, it definitely was.
I really wish that they had developed her living and being, I guess you say, free and living her own life more.
Yeah. I kind of feel like that they just kind of get not lost, but in a way they kind of don't know where to finish off at, and it kind of feels that way in a lot of ways in the ending of this movie, guys. But it's very a awkward ending in a way to where like you kind of think something else is gonna happen, but then no, that's the ending.
Yeah, like I said, it really it begins and ends with their relationship. So it really begins like literally when she meets him, and then when she leaves him. So,
and I get it. I get at the same time though, I kind of get it, but it could have gone a little bit more smooth there.
Yeah, I also feel like
what do you think of Jacob as Elvis from Euphoria?
Yeah, I didn't mind it. You know, I know kissing booth. I didn't mind it. I think he has the right look. Not he look perfectly like Elvis. No, he's tall. He has the hair. He has the face shape. Yeah, sure. And he did the accent pretty okay. Yeah. Was it the best? No. I think Austin Butler like trained so hard for that accent and stuff, that was because he was in a role where Elvis was the main focus.
The center of the movie. His movie. Yeah.
So that's different. That's completely different. Yeah. He was like a supporting character.
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, definitely.
So I think.
Well, I would say
because it wasn't perfect. Yeah. I didn't mind it. I think he did a good job. You know.
All right. Priscilla. This was played, which let me give some really good encouraging stuff here. So this movie was really shot very well. I really enjoyed a lot of the shots, a lot of the stuff, especially how well they could really do a room of that size, because of the fact that room is actually, I mean, it's a good size, right? It really is. But at the same time, though, for the camera, because the camera work is really big, and everything, to make it seem like a big room in a way to where it was really shot in different angles, which I liked. I like that a lot about this movie. I like the different shots we see, even in Vegas. It's kind of smoothed out in there. Even the little shots where she's in the beauty shot.
The old style Vegas.
Yeah, like I think it was a clip. But I mean, regardless, needless to say, movies like this, cinema like this it's a risk. It really is. In a way, it's so much of a risk, and I feel that movies need to do more of this, more of this style. And again, we go back to where I really enjoyed these shots. I enjoyed the shot, even the wedding shot. And granted, you did say look it up, it was only 8 minutes, 10 minutes.
The ceremony was only 8 minutes supposedly. So I think they had receptions afterwards.
Wow.
Again, I did not know. I didn't know this a lot before going in. So
there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot of insight. And see, you don't even feel that way with the Elvis movie at all, because it's more focused on his career, his passion, and even more so. One of the problems I have in this movie was the he said she said deal, because that's exactly what in a way it's kind of doing. Not really, but it is. I feel like in a way, because of the fact is that in this film, Elvis is hanging out with a posse a lot, and more so in the Elvis movie, he had his posse, right? But it wasn't a main focal point. Like, I can't go anywhere without my group. I can't go shopping with my wife without my group. Like, he was more of the Lone Ranger.
But again, I do kind of believe it, because again,
I don't
want to say grooming. Yeah. But I do that's where my mind goes, because she was 14.
Yes.
And I if he was okay with dating a 14-year-old and he flew her all the way out there, I thought it was kind of weird that when she was dress shopping, his posse was there too. So is it believable? Sure. Did it really happen? I don't know.
More than likely, I would think so, because the fact is that he kept her at home and kept her from the world.
See, that's the thing. That's another thing too. I gotta say, the whole pattern with like quote unquote
that made
toxic
sense,
abusive relationship,
social media, that made sense.
Well, also because like he didn't want her to work,
yep.
So how could she occupy her time? He was away for extended periods of time. She had no friends, no family. Controlled her look. Very classic signs of abuse. So it's really hard to see him that way, but it's also like, those are signs of abuse. So if it's one and all of them are happening, you believe it because, again, she was with him at such a young age. Yeah. And I don't want to say grooming, but she was kind of groomed too. Yeah. And I know she loved him. She grew to love him. She cared about him. Yeah. And we see, eventually it doesn't work out, but I gotta say, I think the lead actress who portrayed her did a very good job. Cailee, yeah. I think she did phenomenal. Again, Jacob Elordi, I think that's how his name. I pronounced it. Sorry. Yeah. He. I'm not mad. I think he did a pretty good job. And I gotta say, I as much as I didn't like the ending, I really wanted to see more of her life past Elvis. Yeah. So I know the focus was her relationship with Elvis, but I feel like she's so much more than that as a woman. Yeah. And I wanted to see her just, even if it's just a small snippet of like, even flash forward to like now. I just kind of wanted to see more of after Elvis. That's
good. I like that. I think that would have been a better ending, more so.
Better ending, yeah.
Yeah, or even the older version of her, even with older makeup, just showing or her looking through the photos,
just something. And like I said, she's so much more than just Priscilla Presley. I think she's done so many things besides that. She's her own woman. She's a businesswoman, all that. So I wish we had just even if it's just a 5-minute scene. Yeah. No, more of her life.
Definitely. No, I completely agree there, and that's the thing too, is that like it ends very awkwardly, but it is what it is. But was this the film that we deserved? Man,
yes, I gotta say yes.
I guess.
Okay, because we always deserve two sides of the story.
Of course. Oh yeah, but that's the beauty part of it, is that she said, he said, or she said, she said, different point of views, different intakes, different just it's so many different versions. But the point is that even more so, I enjoyed the shots in this movie, but the pacing was a really struggle for me. It really felt like I was missing way part of the film. Yeah. Let's go to ratings, Angela. Ratings. When do you give this rating?
I agree with you on the pacing. I think it could have been done a lot better. I think it could have flowed a lot. I think, like you say, if it was edited a different way, it would have flowed a lot better. I didn't really necessarily agree with the ending. Like I said, I wish it had ended a little bit differently. But overall, I think it was a pretty good film. Just goes to show you really don't know what happens in a marriage or between two people. Just don't know what happens in someone else's relationship. So this shows a lot. And I think it is definitely something that deserves to be shown. And I would give my rating, just because of the pacing issues, 6.5. Because for a film under 2 hours, it felt a lot longer. Yeah. So I gotta say that really was my biggest negative takeaway from this film, and the ending. I didn't agree with the ending.
There's a lot of good dialogue moments in here that I really do enjoy between Elvis and Priscilla in here. There's a lot of different shots, and more so because of the fact is that they make Elvis to be this random temper, and that is true. We saw it in Elvis as well.
The drugs.
But yeah, of course, yeah. But the thing is, though, with me, is that if you're gonna show me throw this lightsaber against a wall and me being angry about it and just leave it like that, don't even touch up on it, it's like very mad, because of the fact is that if you didn't see the Elvis movie, or granted, if you're one of the very few that did not see the Elvis film, you don't know exactly what's going on in that context. Because again, though, this is Priscilla's side of the story, so I kind of felt like they could have gone at least more in depth on like. Obviously they showed him doing the drugs and everything, and it's certain drugs, right? But I kind of felt like they could have given a little bit more insight to why he was like, just show him like with that girl, at least a quick glance or quick clip of him with that girl, because again, it was she said, and I kind of felt like that there was like, oh, he said, she said kind of deal here, but it didn't give me into, I feel like I was missing part of the movie in a way. So that was my only problem with it. Again, we go back to where this film was really shot well. I really enjoyed these shots and the room shots, especially the Elvis Presley house that was shot. That was really good.
Oh, Graceland, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of moments. First off, I do want to say as well that the hairstyle was just crazy.
It was crazy. It was a different time. It was the 60s, 70s.
Definitely. So yeah. Oh man. The rock those sideburns. That's all I'm saying.
Although I thought it was pretty cool. Like it also the dates blurred. Right, so like we obviously know from the Elvis film, like really his downfall started when he did his residency.
That's another
in
thing
Vegas.
too that they really didn't mention too much. Like her, I mean, they kind of did briefly, but like even at the very end, you really don't know when the breakdown's coming, I guess, and you kind of don't know where it's at unless you know the story of it, right? But more so.
But you could also argue. You could also argue because they were living separate lives especially towards the end when he's starting to spiral. She probably wasn't privy to everything that was happening to him.
Oh yeah,
because he was probably keeping it from her.
Yeah,
and they just were not around each other as much. So you could also view it that way too.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna give it a solid 5.5, guys. A little bit above average here, but we do recommend this movie, guys. If you did see Elvis or you are just an Elvis fan, this is definitely a different point of view here. It's a little bit more focal point on Priscilla. It's more focal point on the loneliness of being the wife, or not necessarily the wife at first, but being I don't even
basically being with a celebrity,
a stay-at-home wife, I guess, a play stay-at-home wife from the beginning of the film, then becoming his wife later, which we all know, but yeah, a playful wife, I guess. I don't even know how to say that. Like, it's because they're playing house because he wants a wife there to be there at all times, and yeah, he groomed her. Is what it is. I mean, fact is, he groomed her, and yeah, we'll leave it like that. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for making us a part of your day. As always, I'm your host, Ryan D. Ryan680.
I'm Angela, that Cailee Ange.
And it's Alamo City Movie Talk, guys. Do not forget, hit that subscribe button, guys. Thank you for making us a part of your day. Comments down below. You know you want to, guys. Put those comments down below. Questions for you. Did you enjoy this film? Are you kind of like, yeah, no, this movie ain't for me. This is just whatever she said, whatever. Put on comments down below because we want to talk to you guys. We want to talk to moviegoers out there. If you enjoyed this film, you thought it was the pacing was the issue just like us, or you thought this was a masterpiece, put on comments down below because we love talking films with y'all. Thank you so much. I'm Ryan D. You can Ryan680.
Manager, that Cailee Ange.
This is Alamo City Movie Talk, guys. Stay safe, San Antonio. Peace.